Good morning, everybody. My name is Deborah Byrne from Deborah Byrne Psychology Services, known across social media as DBpsychology. The wind is very high this morning, so I am hoping that, fingers crossed, we can do this Facebook Live. If not, I will upload a video. I will record and upload a video, as I have had to do in the past. So, this morning I'm going to talk about this week's blog, which was all about the perimenopause and menopause and the emotional side, the actual mental health and the emotional side of going through these stages in a woman's life. It is aimed at women, but if you are in a relationship, then I would highly recommend that you check out the blog as well. It is important that both partners get informed, not just about the physical symptoms, but also about the emotional and mental health symptoms that can come at this stage in a woman's life. That is very, very important. So to start off with, most people don't know about the perimenopause. And the reason for that is it is not talked about. We talk about the menopause to a degree, not enough, I don't think. We talk about the perimenopause stage and we don't talk about it, in fact. And it occurs about 10 to 15 years before the actual menopause. And during that time, a lot of the symptoms, the physical and emotional and mental symptoms will start to kick in. And the other thing we have to recognize is every woman is different. So there is no one size fits all. And I have to stress that there is no one size fits all. So not every treatment, you can't just take a one standard treatment and say, we're going to give that to women and we're going to go, that's it. This will work for you. It works for everybody else. It doesn't. Okay. You have to investigate. You have to become like a private detective now as a woman and as a partner of a woman, and you have to investigate your symptoms. You have to investigate what it is even before you start the perimenopausal stage. I would advise that you investigate what this is all about, what the signs and symptoms are likely to be, and what treatments there are available, not just in terms of what you can get from your GP, but also alternative therapies. And looking at different ways in which you can tackle this. It's not the end of the world. And we do, and there's another point I want to make here is we investigate and we spend time with our teens investigating their hormonal changes, but we don't spend, as mums and as grandmothers, we don't spend enough time investigating what's going on in our own bodies. And that is really, really important. We need to do that for ourselves. So, with that mini lecture out of the way, and I don't really want to sound like it's a mini lecture, but, we need to investigate. There's a couple of ways you can do this when you start to investigate. You can look at what your mum and your grandmother went through, if you knew, because after all, as I said, it's not often talked about. It may not have been talked about back then either. You may not have even known what the symptoms, what your mother or your grandmother was experiencing. And then again, the other thing is, as I said, every woman's different. So you may end up not being like them. Just because your mother followed your grandmother's pattern, you also have your father's mother's pattern to take into account. So you may not know what's going on there. But there are plenty of books out there. Please go and read good books. Go and read, investigate websites that are of a good quality, a good nature, that have authority behind them. So one I have linked into the blog this week, which is Christiana Northrup. She is a doctor, but she has been doing women's health for decades, and she is excellent. She's really excellent. She takes what I think is, and we all need to be doing, is a holistic approach. So she just doesn't look at the medical symptoms or the physical symptoms. She looks at the whole woman and everything that she's going through. So this is where I would be coming from, is to take a holistic approach and to look at everything. Now, the physical symptoms, some of you will be aware of, and you'll associate it with menopause more than perimenopause. Will be the night sweats, the hot flashes, your cycle's erratic, and you have sleep difficulties as a result as well. They can come into effect when you're perimenopausal. It's not just in the menopause stages. You could be fine. Your cycle could actually be fine, but you could be getting night sweats, very mild ones, but you could be getting a hot flash. But you think because you're stressed, you're running around, you're looking after kids, you put it down to that, and you don't realize this is your hormones have started to, go off sync. So the emotional side of it, or mental health side of it, I have a whole list of symptoms there. They include being erratic, lack of motivation. I'm going to have to read the list. I'm sorry, guys. Anger, aggression, your concentration can go, fatigue, a lot of tension, crying for no reason, mood swings. Big one. Mood swings, a big one. But the two most important ones there would be depression and anxiety. They would be very prevalent. And there'd be a higher rate of those in women over 45. But it could be somebody younger. Their average statistics, women over 40, that's, the 45 to 64 age bracket, that's an average statistic. So remember, there will be younger women. You can start the menopause as early as, I'd say your early 40s, very early 40s. But it could be, even earlier than that. For some other reason, you could go into a very early menopause, much earlier than that, but you will experience some of the symptoms, earlier than that again. So the sooner you investigate, once you hit your 30s, you need to start investigating about the perimenopause and then about the menopause and what it means for you. Now, in terms of self-help, because I don't want to keep you on all morning. So self-help, you see your GP. If you're having, if you think you've started into the menopause or you started into the perimenopause and you're getting a lot of symptoms and they're becoming very problematic, you're having sleep difficulties and things like that, see your GP, talk through the options, get as much information, as I said, as possible, and go home and think about it. Go and think about what I want to do. It's my body. Don't just take this, and this off the GP, okay? Not everything that you will get will suit you. And there are lots of options out there. So you need to be aware of all the different options. Now, I'm not a medical advisor, so that's why I say to you, go and investigate, talk to other women, go on forums, look at what other women are trying, look what's available, and check what's available if you're in Ireland, check what's available in Ireland. An awful lot of the time what is available in Ireland is reduced to what's available outside of Ireland, but if you can get a prescription, you might be able to pick it up in the north. So, investigate. You also have to, part of the investigation is not just to learn about your physical symptoms and to be aware of the emotional and mental symptoms that are going to you're going to experience with the hormone fluctuations. You have to think about what else is going on in your life. So a lot of the time, perimenopause and menopause occurs with kids leaving school, leaving home for the first time. It could be marital difficulties. You're caught in the middle. You're that sandwich group where you are looking after children, but you're also looking after parents. You could be experiencing your parents' deaths. You could be downsizing for the first time. Your kids have left home and now you're downsizing. Huge stressors, guys. These are huge stressors. When we talk about, people experiencing stress, and the level, the kind of top 10 stressors, all these come in there. So you've got to think about, what am I experiencing in my life? And this is why I say to you at the start, it's a holistic approach. How you tackle this is a holistic approach. You investigate. So in order to do that, I would suggest doing your meditation, because that will help you, calm down a bit, to reduce your stress levels. Using a journal to journal out, what's going on in my life, doing a life review. What am I trying to tackle here? Are my symptoms down to the stress that's going on in my life, or can I put it down to something else? Can I put it down to my hormones? Maybe I have been putting it down to all these stressors, but where in fact I'm going through the perimenopausal stage, or I'm started into menopause, and I've forgotten this, and I'm not aware that these hormones are also adding to my stress levels, because they're causing me to become have mood swings, they're causing me depression, they're causing me anxiety. All this, you have to take it all into account. You have to become more aware of your body and what your body's trying to tell you. So, of course, self-help. I have a list of self-help things you can do. Always, always, always start with your basic self-care, your healthy boundaries, reviewing your priorities, as I said, your meditation, your stress reduction has to be on top form at this point. It must be. Journaling again to become aware, more aware, track your cycle, track your emotional cycle. I've talked about this before. You have to track your mental health and your emotional health alongside your physical health and any physical symptoms you're having. This will help your GP, as well as if you decide to go into and have therapy, that it will help you to talk more to your therapist and help more your GP to become more aware. Okay, she is experiencing A, B, C, and D, and these mental health and physical, not just physical symptoms, but also mental health symptoms. Negative thought patterns and brain dumping. Again, we'd use the journal for that. If your concentration is going out the window and you find yourself your thinking's getting a bit fuzzy. Again, guys, think perimenopause, menopause, your hormones going over. It's going to, cause this thing. Can be rectified very easily and very quickly. Please go and see your GP. But also self-help. Do self-help yourself using calendars, using to-do lists, doing brain dumps every night, and also getting all the stresses. Use your journal to get all that stress out, so it'll help improve your sleep. And I talk about, sleep problems is one of the factors that women talk about when they are in this stage. And I have a huge blog there, and I've done a Facebook Live on the sleep difficulties that women can experience, and it's all up there on how to help yourself. Connect with other people, particularly if you find you're anxious or you're depressed with this cycle. You connect with other people, because the depression and anxiety is going to tell you to withdraw. It's going to go no. So connecting with other people, taking up hobbies, taking up interests, and getting in there, and you're basically fighting against what this depression and anxiety is telling you to do, which is to withdraw and to not be around people. So you want to do a bit of self-help here. And definitely, if you are diagnosed or you feel you have depression and anxiety, see your GP and come and see somebody like me, a psychologist. You can self-refer to a psychologist or a counsellor. Please do that. Now, the other thing is try alternative therapies. And I say try alternative therapies because not everything, particularly the milder stages or the milder levels of symptoms, may not require, the hormonal treatment, may not require the GP, but the GP may not give you something. So other things may help. So you have to investigate and see what's out there. But also try reflexology, anything like that, any massages, anything at all, alternative therapies, as well as herbal treatments. Look at your vitamins and mineral intake, look at your diet, look at, your sugar, your alcohol and your caffeine. You've got to get that balance right, because it's all going to be affecting your hormones. Will exercise help you? Will a different form of exercise? Maybe the type of exercise up to now was great, but it isn't right for you now at this stage. Maybe you need to change it up. And you've got to look at all these things, as well as, and I've said this, I'm going to say it again, this is my third time saying this in this Facebook Live, reduce your stress. Okay, you've got to reduce your stress, and look after yourself. And by look after yourself, I mean basic self-care, healthy boundaries, your meditation, your journaling, your gratitude, and all that. That has to be at this stage your number one priority, because you are not going to be able to look after anybody else if you can't look after yourself first and foremost. So I will leave it there. Do check out the blog. It's at www.deborahbyrnepsychologyservices.com, and I will see you all again next Saturday morning. And if anybody has any questions, I will try and answer them. As always, pop them in underneath this video, and I will get back to you. And thank you all thank you to all as always to the regulars who listen in every week, and to everybody else who watches this afterwards. So, and I will see you next Saturday morning, and goodbye.